Hi, this is Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to look at Garcinia trees, the Seashore Mangosteen. It's got fruit set on it. It's been a while since it's actually set fruit, and we've never actually had our Garcinia tree, Garcinia humbromiana tree, the Seashore Mangosteen, hold a fruit to maturity. I think this is the year that's going to happen. Anyway, I also want to talk about plant health and the root cause of plant disease. And it's all comes down to the cellular level. And it's the root cause of disease is dysfunction at the mitochondrial level. So if the mitochondria gets damaged, and it gets damaged by toxins, environmental toxins caused by agriculture, so fungicides, heavy metals like copper, and other pesticides and herbicides, especially like the well-known one, glyphosate. And I'm also going to look at other tropical Garcinias, Garcinia humilis. I'm going to try to look at the 7 that have set fruit here. So Garcinia humilis, the achachiro, is like why we started this farm. And this is our big producing tree, and this tree has gotten really big. It would be a lot taller, but it got topped twice by 2 different hurricanes back to back, and it seems to be doing quite well. And I have given it actually 3 piles of what I call my daily manure, which is mostly hay with some urine and miniature zebu manure. And that's quite a bit for one tree, but I had put a pile here not that long ago, and it completely disappeared. So I know that the tree is the biology is breaking it down and feeding the nutrients to this tree. And the more manure I have given stuff of my daily manure, so it's a probiotic with a prebiotic. So the probiotic is the hay, and the prebiotic is the hay, and the probiotic is the manure. So you apply them at the same time, and that's what I do. And this is also functions as what I call my compost. So after if it doesn't get broken down and disappears, which usually it doesn't, but this big tree, I guess, took care of it all, the biology, and fed it to the tree. So I just put this pile here like 2 days ago, or yesterday, I guess, and yesterday, and it's already going to disappear. And it's a lot of the piles that last a long time is what I consider my compost. So I wait until after a year, and I wait till weeds and everything grow into it, and then it basically assimilates into topsoil. So I scrape that up, and I start my tropical fruits tree seeds that I start in pots in that topsoil, which I also call compost. So this tree has not got any new leaves on it right now. When Garcinias start producing new leaves, a lot of times they will be flowering, dependent on the time of year for the particular tree. A lot of the Garcinias bloom year-round and fruit year-round, like Garcinia madruno, Garcinia intermedia, Garcinia brasiliensis, Garcinia livingstoneii, Garcinia gardneriana. And I think that's all I can think of at the moment of the known Garcinias that produce fruit here. Garcinia madruno, I think I said, year-round. And but I don't see any flowers. I could smell the flowers before I could see them, because it's really hard to find fruit on this tree. I know for years I watched this tree and would look at every branch thinking that perhaps now is the time that it has fruit, but I could never find flowers. And then my Garcinia livingstoneii started flowering and fruiting, and my Garcinia gardneriana and my intermediate and stuff. So I took flowers and leaves of the tree, the Garcinias that were flowering and fruiting, and chopped them up and made a solution out of it with compost tea. And I fermented it overnight, and I sprayed it all over this tree and in this soil. And that year, this tree, I also applied zebu manure for the first time. And that year, this tree produced fruit 3 years ago for the first time, after we got our miniature zebus. And it's been producing well ever since. So that was second pile of zebu manure. Here's the third one. This is the second one I actually applied. It's almost disappearing. And I guess that the biology is feeding all the nutrients in there to this tree. I'm going to go and look at some other ones. So what I notice, how I can tell that tree is fruiting, when it's fruiting, is it gets new leaves on it, and I can smell the flowers. And that's how it is with the Garcinia Livingstonii also. Well, I could see the fruit on that, but I could definitely smell the flowers. They just smell really good. Garcinia flowers have a great scent to them. They just are really beautiful plants. I have a lot of passion fruit. So here's a Garcinia macrophylla that's growing in this heliconia. And we don't water anything, and we focus on soil health here, and we combine all regenerative farm practices like biodynamic farming, organic farming, well, some organic farming principles, because it's not really a regenerative form in all cases, because they allow for CAFOs and other detrimental confined animal farm operating systems. So that's not really a regenerative form of farming. And they also, organic allows you to use plastic mulch, which puts known synthetic toxins directly into the soil forever, in the form of nanoparticles of plastic, which attract heavy metals, which are also known toxins to mitochondria. So we combine them. Indian zero budget natural farming probably is our biggest influence, followed by biodynamics. And we are not biodynamics certified, nor are we organic certified anymore. It was just too much stress for me. I do these videos. People know how I grow. All you have to do is watch my videos and can tell that I'm totally focused on soil health and my health. And my health is derived from the health of our soil. And that's the missing problem in industrial farming today. Here's a achachiro that's getting quite large. The weeds around the trees protect them from too much sun or whatever, and when they have fruit on them, they protect the tree from the animals getting the fruit. Though usually animals don't get achachiro fruit, and this tree is way too small to start fruiting. They need to be bigger than this. It's got a couple years left still. But our citrus have the same issues. Our mangoes get like this when they're small. We don't have greening issues on our citrus. And that's because we focus on soil health. It's the core principle here, in combination with regenerative farm modalities, and that we modify and combine and call Florida natural farming. It's a soil health driven principle that we stay off the soil. And when I plant citrus, we have about 15 different types of citrus. I just got some bergamot fruit from California. I tried to buy organic seeds, preferably from California, because you can't get organic seeds from Florida that I've found, though I did get a couple of organic from like 125-year-old groves, 100-year-old groves that still produce fruit in Florida that have been grown organically the entire time. They're not certified, but there's a pomelo tree. This is a Rangapuri lime. So the organic seed from California is less likely to have greening in the tissue. So greening was caused by an insect, but because of industrial farm management. So greening is a lifestyle choice that we put on the plant. So it's a management choice that we make up and put on the plant. So in Florida, they do all industrial citrus. They mow the orchard floor, which compacts the soil, prevents the biology from moving through the soil correctly. Then they spray herbicide around the tree to remove the weeds, which further removes the biology from around the tree and disrupts the cellular function in the plant that they're spraying it around. So it causes mitochondrial damage. And so the greening affected, sure, it didn't affect, it may have been on the first generation of citrus, may have been from the insect, but then they take subsequent generations of citrus that have had the cell damage, the mitochondria damage, from the industrial practices they employ, the lifestyle choice they employ on their citrus groves. And, you know, because they use multiple fungicides and herbicides and pesticides, all toxins, and have mutagenic capabilities to the mitochondria. And when you change the mitochondria, it may not affect the first generation, but the subsequent generations are affected by the mutated gene. So I always wondered why in people, that old people are less likely. I've always eaten this and it's never bothered me. So they're able to eat wheat and glyphosate stuff. It's because they started eating the stuff, and when they were younger, their genes did not mutate. So they have a stronger ability to take the environmental toxins because they were the first year getting them. But the subsequent years after that pass on from generation to generation, and they become more susceptible to environmental chemicals and stressors from food. And the same thing happens with citrus. And so they now have citrus where they put little plastic tents around them when they're small. I guess they fumigate inside those tents. They kill all the life in the soil. Well, in order for cellular symbiosis to happen, you have to have enzymes. And enzymes get in the plant. Plants can create their own, can synthesize their own enzymes, but they have to do it with the help of the fungi. So the fungi, the roots attract the biology needed for the plant to grow and synthesize nutrients properly. So and make secondary metabolites and stuff to combat abiotic stress. But when you're feeding your plant a nutrient-rich diet that's always available in the form of salt-based fertilizers, it puts the cellular symbiosis out of balance. So there is no cellular homeostasis occurring because of the always available nutrients you're providing to the tree. And you're providing them in the form of pollutants, so because they come from industrial root waste. So they likely contain high amounts of heavy metals, plastics, forever chemicals, and high concentrations of salts and fire retardants and everything else. There's lots of pollutants in modern agricultural chemicals. It's just how they are. They're made from industrial waste. So you're putting your plant's ability to function on a cellular level out of balance. So there is no cellular homeostasis happening, which means if your mitochondria can't function properly and there is no biology in the soil because of your farm methods, that was a pomelo I was looking at while I was ranting on, then your plant can't uptake calcium. If you've put your lifestyle views, if you exert your lifestyle views on how to grow plants, and you're doing it in an industrial fashion, and you're mowing the orchard floor, even in Florida, we have so much calcium in our the rock, the bedrock here. It's the water that they pump out of the ground is calcium carbonate. So when they compact the soil and they use calcium carbonate water, if it dries out, it basically forms cement. That's how the calcareous rock gets formed. So they're creating a soil that can't move nutrients through it, and then they use all these nutrients, and they create excess nutrient loss, because they have to apply more and more, or not loss, runoff that goes into the waterways, and that's what's destroying Florida. Basically, it's what's polluted, made Florida waterways the most polluted waterways in the nation, the lakes and stuff. That's just unacceptable, considering we have the most freshwater springs in the world. It probably means we have the most polluted lakes in the world. It would have to. It's pretty scary. And it doesn't have to be that way. We grow everything naturally here, and we build up life in the soil. You build up life in the soil by providing a home for it, which is a wall-to-wall living orchard floor of biodiverse plants in an uncompacted, undisturbed fashion, and you feed it probiotics and prebiotics. So the hay and the prebiotics and the probiotics, it's the hay is the prebiotic and the manure is the probiotic, the biology, at the same time. So this is a Garcinia Livingstonii. It's just really sad that we know all this stuff, and we know that they're damaging the citrus severely because they only live 15 years on average, and they should be living 75 to 100 years. But yet they don't look at the mitochondria damage, their lifestyle choice that they have employed on their farm, their management practice, that is destroying the health of the plant. And then you've got to be some kind of, I don't know if the word's stupid or whatever, to think that you can eat the citrus, Florida citrus, that's industrial grown, and expect to get a health response for yourself out of that industrial grown citrus when you're consuming all those pollutants. Florida Natural has a lawsuit against them because their orange juice contains so much. I forget which one. It has a class action lawsuit against them because their zero pulp orange juice contains so many forever chemicals. All these chemicals, these farm chemicals, is what causes mutagenic changes in mitochondria. And all disease, they figure, is caused from mitochondria damage in humans and in plants alike. There aren't as many studies on plants, but you can just take the plants, the human studies, and apply them to the plant, because they all function pretty much the same way, though humans have to eat their enzymes through the food they get. But the enzymes are like the vitamins and the mineral, the proteins, and the enzymes are a type of protein. Plants, I guess, have like a lot more proteins in them, in the tissue, than humans do, but they have just like 50 more genes than humans, something like that, 10 to 50 more genes. I don't know exactly. I'm gonna provide links. Look at our star fruit. These trees are covered in fruit. What am I doing? I'm trying to to look at Garcinias. So there is the MB. That's that MB tree I just showed was the fruit tree that made like $2,400 for us last year. It produced multiple crops, 2 crops, big crops for us, and that's because the tree is able to express its genotype in a natural way that is not affected by mitochondrial damage that would be instilled upon it by a management choice that I make if I wanted to do industrial farming. And all these people that grow mangoes and stuff, and they spray their copper all over the tree. First of all, it's a heavy metal. It's been shown to be a contributor to cognitive decline, especially in children, and possibly a factor in Alzheimer's in adults. And when you spray it on food, you consume the copper, and the copper is a toxic heavy metal that if applied in concentrated forms, which is what the fungicide is, it kills the bacteria and the fungi in the soil, and it kills the fungi and bacteria on the leaf tissue, and it causes mitochondria damage in your tree. So your tree's ability to adapt to fungal stressors, pathogenic fungal stressors like powdery mildew, it's incapable. The more you do, the less chance of recovery it can have. So you continuously have to do it. And you're causing cell oxidation, which causes early death. And that's why citrus lives so short, because of the synergistic toxic effects of the combination of all the farm agrochemicals they use to grow citrus has greatly diminished the citrus ability to have cellular symbiosis in a normal fashion, and instead it has cellular, everything is oxidizing, it's aging the cells, everything they do. This is a citrus. I think this is a sweet orange tree. I think this is the sweet orange tree. We get some leaf miner. It doesn't really hurt the tree. Not all trees get it, but some of them get it. But we don't have greening. I mean, hello. That's your management practice. I mean, the American diet is known to be the worst diet in the world, but yet that's what everyone eats here. And if we can't even manage our own lifestyle, why do we think we can manage the animal and plant kingdom's lifestyle better than nature? We can't. We can't even manage our own. People cannot make lifestyle changes to adapt to pollutants that are in our environment pervasively here in Florida. I couldn't imagine living in the Midwest around all those cornfields and all that, and wheat fields and stuff that they spray and dry glyphosate and use all that stuff. The same thing is with the citrus fields. And once you've started using reclaimed water, which I forget how many thousands of acres of citrus grove they use reclaimed water on here in Florida, the soil is forever polluted with forever chemicals. So I wouldn't want to live near Florida citrus groves. You couldn't pay me to live near one. This has never been a citrus grove. And then a lot of people have issues growing like cacao and tropicals, and they say that they'll die below 45 degrees. A lot of these people grow in greenhouses, in pots, in plastic pots, polyethylene, polypropylene pots, and then they're in plastic greenhouses. So right there, those are toxicants that the plant is getting through its leaf tissue and its soil tissue directly into the plant. Yeah, you may not notice in the first direction breathing all that plastic in throughout the lifetime, but if you're raising kids and having kids while you're doing it, chances are it's causing mutagenic changes to your mitochondria DNA, which you can pass on to your children's. And then it will affect them more. And the same thing happens with plants. We got to start paying attention, people, and just because you don't understand isn't an excuse. It's well known that we have a chronic health issue here, and the food has all become, doesn't have as many nutrients, but yet they fail to realize that the plant gets nutrients, and the plant nutrients and vitamins are the enzymes that are provided by the biology. So they kill the biology, or they don't even think about the biology. They just worry about their NPK, which is causing their plant to have oxidation in its cells from too many nutrients being provided consistently, constantly, in the form of pollutants. And no liquid soluble fertilizers that they use in organic hydroponics, probably Hollytone or something like that, is not that's not an organic option, because it doesn't build microbial life. And in plants, because they synthesize their own enzymes, which are vitamins and proteins and stuff needed for cellular respiration, homeostasis, for the uptake of nutrients to build new cells. That's what cellular respiration is. Then if you don't have the biology, then the plant doesn't have the nutrients or the biology in its cells to rejuvenate itself. And the biology is how your plant is going to create metabolites that repel pests and heat up the cells during times of cold, and speed its metabolism, which enables it to function properly. We don't have to water anything. We've never watered anything. Well, I have watered. I did connect some of our grafted trees for like a year, but we've never watered when I plant a plant in. And here's our durian, and it was never affected by low 40s. And our little cacao don't have any spots on them. This is a little coffee tree. I don't understand why people have not been growing cacao in this part of Florida commercially, because I moved here from Louisiana, from New Orleans, and about 12 years ago, and I didn't realize that Florida was such a botanical phenomena. So it's called Florida because everything grows here. And I think that's why we went down the chemical route, because they realized that they could pretty much do anything. And if they could create a product and tell you that that's what's going to grow your plant and sell it to you, and then pay for college professors, get the college professors on their side, and endorse their products, then to make money. It's just so wrong, and destroys all life. And so it destroys microbial life. It destroys your plant's ability to uptake nutrients. It destroys your plant's ability for cellular homeostasis. It prevents so many things, and it causes, the industrial farm model causes plant mitochondrial mutations that are plant detrimental, and in turn detrimental to our human health when we consume them. It's just so much science and everything. I am obsessed with figuring it out and trying to explain, because I find Florida such an amazing spot. Here's more achachiro. I didn't even talk about this Garcinia. So we have like 7 different Garcinias here, and they're probably the easiest plant to grow here, and I direct sow the seeds. Pretty much the only seeds I start in pots are cacao and sugar apples and atemoyas and citrus. So here's a Garcinia intermedia, and this is a tree that produces fruit all year long. And like the Garcinia humilis, it has produces flowers on its stems rather than its trunk or leaf tip. And this tree has produced a lot of fruit, and I'm kind of surprised it doesn't have any flowers or fruit on it at the time. But I haven't given this thing any manure. My daily compost. I really should give it some prebiotics and probiotics. Here's another achacha tree. I have about, like I said, 15 different Garcinias we grow here. And I've got some new Lindero species, Garcinia lindero, that are quite nice and quite big. But I also have Garcinia Mangostana growing here, and it's not affected by the cold. You have to focus on the biology. That's where it comes down to. The biology is what puts the health into your plant and creates a strong mitochondria. And the biology is all the like different things that they're figuring out are needed for cell symbiosis or cell respiration. I'm trying to think where those, here's a little Garcinia Mangostana. I think this is, but this might be this might be a Garcinia madruno. And I have a Garcinia Mangostana right around here. It's kind of a small one, but I'm sure it's still here. Trying to see where it is. Oh, there it is right there. I have a quite large one, but should I go over there? Anyway, it's right here. I plant plants together close in. They don't seem to compete with each other. That's all bull crap. The only thing that competes with the plant is the human that is exerting its lifestyle choice onto that plant in the form of industrial farm management. I always wondered why the older generation was less affected by, of humans, was less affected by like the wheat and everything. You know, they just don't seem affected by the glyphosate, and it's because they have stronger mitochondria, because they probably did not consume the glyphosate as a child like they're doing now, and everyone seems to consume it, and it's really, here's another Achachira. It's really a problem. It really is a problem, and it's going to take humans out. It's causing us to have chronic disease. That's probably one of the main causes of it, but also the other insecticides are a big problem, and antibiotics that they use in industrial farm animal growing, the CAFOs. So you know, they created, they tried to tell everyone that the manure is a problem, that you're going to get E. coli, but then they failed to address that the E. coli is caused by their management practice of how they raise animals. They just need to start doing it in a more humane way, and managing the manure in a more natural fashion. So don't put it in great big giant pits and then spray it onto the grass or the fields, because those great big giant pits and great big this is a Garcinia hybrid of Braziliensis, and I think it's Braziliensis and Gardneriana, and it has a sweet fruit that resembles Gardneriana, but it only produces one crop a year. It might do one, like where Gardneriana and Braziliensis produce 2 crops a year, but it has multiple types of leaf sizes on it. So it has like an achacha leaf on it, and then also has like leaves like Gardneriana and intermedia. So it's quite interesting. I wasn't sure what, at first I thought this was a Achachiro tree, but it is I'm positive it's a hybrid of some sort. Braziliensis, I think, and because you can eat the skin on that, like you can on Braziliensis. So there's big CAFOs that they create with the manure, and then the colleges, because the chemical industry needed to have an enemy in manure, because manure is a superior growing method to chemicals, because that's how plants adapted to grow, and it doesn't cause mutagenic changes that are plant damaging. It's plant beneficial, and it's full of life if the animals are raised correctly. And So they had to find a adversary in manure, and that adversary is E. coli. So they've taught college professors that it's bad for you, and people like Elaine Ingham saying you have to do a thermophilic compost to kill all the anaerobes in the biology is totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And you need the anaerobes, you need the biology to balance itself out. It is not our job to balance the biology out through management. And the Johnson Sioux or bioreacting compost that they've made may be a good form of making compost, but when you wrap it with plastic and you put plastic tubes inside that are made out of a polyvinyl chloride, and you wrap it in plastic shade cloth, you're putting micro nanoparticles of plastic directly into your compost, which wind up in the food you eat. So I don't understand why they haven't come out and say urgent, all people need to address this, but they haven't. So this is a big female tree of I believe manure is better than compost anyway. I mean, you make compost from the manure, so we use our miniature zebus, they work. This is the female Humbromiana tree, and I thought that this started flowering, and I thought that this was perhaps a hermaphrodite tree, because it did flower 2 years ago during the drought, but the fruit fell off. And it set flowers. It's setting flowers right now. It just started up. I gave it some manure. It started flowering right here near the manure. You tell me if it works. It does work. It's not fruiting further away. The closer it is to the manure, the more flowers are on it. And so this had a flower. This is the female flower, and it wasn't a perfect flower, but it has a fruit on it now. And there is no male. Smells so good, these flowers. There is no male flowers at the moment. So is it self-fertile? I don't know. I am not sure. And it fruits at the tip like mangostana, and probably you cannot cross this with humulus, or the ones that flower on their leaf, their stems, their outer stems, like here. But I'm sure you can cross it back to mangostana. And is Prainiana the same way? I'm not sure. I don't know, because I haven't flowered all of them yet, but we've flowered 7 of them here, and hopefully we're gonna get, you can see this has a lot of flowers forming on it now, so I'm gonna be able to see what it does. I'm quite excited about this fruit. The trees are gorgeous trees, and you know, it's all dry farmed. When we plant our trees, we have never watered them in. We don't have to. You don't have to in Florida. You have to focus on soil health, but you don't have to water them in. If your soil's compacted, you're gonna have troubles. I didn't realize that when I first started here, but one of the ways to fix soil compaction is just plant a bunch of trees in it. So you dig a bunch of holes and you plant a bunch of trees. So this is the Garcinia brasiliensis. It has a round, perfectly round fruit. Sometimes might have a little tiny nipple on it, but it's you can eat it skin and all, and it's got the smallest of the lemon drop mangosteens. The Gardneriana is the biggest, the intermediate is in the middle, and it's starting a big bloom. I gave it some daily manure. This is Garcinia Gardneriana. And these trees all bloom year-round and fruit year-round. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a big fruit set at the moment. It does have some fruit on it, and I don't see any new leaves forming on it. But it does have fruit, some sporadic fruit. And as you can see, this has a nipple on it, and the fruit get quite large. They can get quite large. Usually the first ones of the year are the biggest. And it fruits on the stems like achachiro. Probably this can cross with achachiro. That's what I'm hoping happens here, because we just have so many different trees growing together. I'm noticing lots of little cashews popping up because I planted more than 200 seeds, and I think that all of them have germinated. I'm just seeing them everywhere. I just want to look at them real quick while I'm over here. There's one right there. And there's another one right, where is it? Right there. And there's another one. There's another one right here. Let me zero in. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. I see it right there in the center. That's it. So they're popping up. We're going to be a major cashew farm. I have different trees planted. There's a sapodilla here. I have pigeon pea. I have bananas. I've been dividing my bananas again. So I want to get to 500 of them by February 20th. And I can divide about 10 bananas a day. This is one I just divided yesterday off that. And so I want to get up to 500. I'm going to start putting them in the area where I've always had trouble growing stuff, where stuff has stayed stunted for a long time due to soil compaction. And I'm going to, this is one I planted not that long ago. I take off all of the leaves on the larger ones except for one, because they'll just get knocked over from the wind. But on the smaller ones, I leave the leaves on there. This is one I moved. Anyway, so how many Garcinia fruiting trees did I show? Gardneriana, the hybrid, the intermedia, the Braziliensis, that's 4. Intermedia, Achachiro, and now I just have to do the Madruno, and then we'll call this video a done video. So there's a cashew growing next to this jackfruit. Our jackfruit are all like doing super fruiting, blooming right now. Here's a male Garcinia hombromiana tree. The leaves are slightly different on this tree than that tree. They're slightly bigger. This particular, what I think is a male hombromiana tree, question mark, because it has red flowers on it. I'm not sure what that was about, but it's starting to flower right now. You can see it's going to be red. It starts red, quite red. They're always red. There's one right there starting. Hopefully this will cross. Maybe I'll get a paintbrush. I usually don't like to do it. I like it to happen naturally, but I think maybe I'll experiment on a couple of flowers with a little paintbrush and try to pollinate the Garcinia hombromiana female flower with that one, because the female flower, the perfect flower on Garcinias come out with the fruit already on them. And that had a flower on it, so it had to get pollinated on the process, and I'm not sure if they're just self-fertile or what. There's a little cashew there. Here's a hombromiana. This particular weed was covered in that black soot, and it transferred onto this Garcinia humilis tree. But this Garcinia humus tree overcame it, and now all the new growth is fine, and I can see it's washing off the old leaves. So they can overcome it if you have biological homeostasis happening in your soil. So a biological equilibrium that is only accomplished by nature, meaning the good bacteria and the bad bacteria get balanced out, and the good bacteria prevails and provides a plant beneficial response. It works in unison, and a lot of times these plant pathogens like anthracnose that people are all so scared about in mangoes can be plant beneficial. So this is the Garcinia or Madruno, and this tree produces more than any other tree here. So it just had a bunch of fruit on it. I gave it a little manure there, compost, manure, whatever, probiotic with a prebiotic, whatever you want to call it. I call it compost usually because that's what it used to be called here, but it's pretty much a probiotic and prebiotic, and it assimilates into soil depending on how much the plant consumes and how active the biology is. So the more active the biology is, the quicker this will turn over. That's what you want: fast turnover, fast metabolism. So this tree, I'm trying to see if it has any flowers. It has some new growth on it, so I have a feeling that it's gonna flower, is starting to flower, thinking about flowering. But I can't really see any flowers on it or flowers forming. But I looked at this tree so much, and then all of a sudden one day I'll look at it and see like 20 fruit sitting on it that I didn't even notice the whole day before. So I'm not sure what that's about. But there you go. It's magic. I'm going to look at one more male Garcinia tree. It's the tree over there. They're gorgeous trees. I love how they grow. They're just thick and lush. That's a black sapote from here. That's a jackfruit. Jackfruit, they all have fruit on them, the jackfruits. We still have some black sapote fruit. I have somebody I have to send, few people I have to send our zebu manure to. So our whole fertility program is based on the miniature zebu. And I was influenced by Indian zero budget natural farming in India on how did they grow these miniature, how did they grow and develop mangoes and jackfruit and neem and you name it. They have trees of purpose, a whole book full of them, and they have records from going way back. It's just an incredible indigenous culture that almost got wiped out by, the colonizers. But thankfully they've overcome, and I think India is the future of the world. Hopefully, they have Indian zero budget natural farming, and so I got miniature zebus because that's as close as I could get. I was looking at this Garcinia lindero tree, and this is a Miko lemon, no greening. This is a Garcinia madruno tree. The Garcinias are very fast growing here now. I believe that because we have so many of them, and our soil has a memory of Garcinias and the biology needed, because plants recruit the biology they need for that species. If you have the biology, you have to focus on the biology. You can't ignore the fungi. You can't kill fungi and expect a fungally dominant soil. Can't kill it with your pesticides, your herbicides, your fungicides. Your management of your own personal person dictates the management of your plant. And if you're not managing your lifestyle correctly and you don't believe in organic, then how are you ever going to raise a healthy plant? It's impossible. It's all related. This is a male tree. It's just starting to flower, and this has white flowers like the female Garcinia tree. The leaves are different. They're smaller on the Hombromianus, the known Hombromianus. Definitely a lot smaller, almost a different color. But I can tell that this one is identical to the female tree. So that red one must be some sort of hybrid of some sort. It has to be, or a mutation. Who knows? Anyway, it's all fascinating to me. I hope you like, share, and subscribe and comment. I love reading people's comments. I get influenced by people's comments on future videos. I learn from them. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone watching, and I hope that everyone's trying to take care of Florida and take care of your own environment so that the exposome you create is one of health for future generations. Have an excellent day.